Hi, Sheriff Mack. Thank you so much for talking with me today. Before I ask you my question, would you just give a little background about the fight that you had with the federal government over the Brady Bill so my readers know your background?
Yeah, I was a small-town sheriff in southern Arizona back in late 80s and through the 90s. And while I was sheriff, I became the first sheriff in American history to start a lawsuit against the federal government, take the case all the way to the United States Supreme Court and win a landmark decision. And this is the first time also ever that gun control laws were actually repealed or stopped at the federal level, which the Brady Bill had 5 Brady Bills scheduled, and so our lawsuit killed half of Brady Bill 1 and it stopped Brady Bills 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Wow.
Otherwise, the Second Amendment would have been completely gutted. Gun shows would be a thing of the past, and most FFLs, federal firearm licensees, would all be out of business. And that is where the movement started to regulate ammunition and to actually put serial numbers on ammunition. And so that was Brady Bill 2, and we stopped it. So it really was a historic time, and most Americans haven't even heard about it.
No, I hadn't. That's why when I saw that you were coming, I wanted to talk with you because I had never heard of that, because I can't stand the Brady Bill, obviously, of course. But so I hadn't heard of this, and of course no one's going to hear about it.
Well, James Brady was a good guy, and I met him at the Supreme Court. He was there. The one that exploited him in doing all this was his wife, Sarah.
Right, and she's still doing it.
She wasn't a good person. I don't care for her at all.
She's still doing it.
Yeah.
And I think his daughter is too, isn't it?
Might be.
Yeah. We're fighting for constitutional carry in New Hampshire right now.
Right.
We've done it before and it failed. You talked about it from a CLEO point of view, but we have, and our sheriffs have a little bit different of a role in New Hampshire than you did in Arizona. But we had, during testimony, we had the New Hampshire Department of Safety come out against it and say we were going to be a free fire zone in New Hampshire. We had the head of the Chiefs of Police Association come out against it. And then the state trooper who's the head of direct permitting come out against it. They've used bogus facts. They didn't, they just made stuff up literally. What do you do?
Why don't they just look at Vermont?
We told them that, and one of the
real simple. Look at Vermont. Look at Alaska. Look at Arizona. Look at Wyoming.
That's exactly what we said.
Yeah.
We said, look at these places, because we have stats that show before constitutional carry and then what happened after, and the murder rate and everything went down and crime rate went down. But what do you do about officers who would just blatantly lie? They're breaking their oath.
First of all, when I see officers campaigning for gun control, it just thoroughly amazes me how stupid it is. Because, so they're saying that if we have more gun control, or if we don't have constitutional carry, which if you don't have it, then you have unconstitutional carry, which means you're still promoting gun control. First, I want to ask them if they know and understand the law. Do you know that when you read the Constitution and you read the Second Amendment, do you know that the intent of those who penned the Second Amendment meant for gun control to be against the law? In America, gun control is against the law. So we have these lawmen running around supporting lawlessness and supporting the actual opposite of what the Second Amendment says. People who have sworn an oath in God's name to uphold and defend the Constitution, fighting against it. And are they also telling me, now I'm a retired law enforcement, I was in law enforcement 20 years, so chief and troopers and all of those who campaigned against constitutional carry. It's called constitutional carry. It's lawful. It's correct. And you're trying to tell me now that you're going to train your officers that when we have this gun control in place, and supposedly fewer people have guns in New Hampshire because they fought against constitutional carry, that you'll tell your officers to let your guard down, don't worry about it. It's not going to be as much a threat. We're not going to have constitutional carry. So you don't have to worry about people shooting you when you make a traffic stop. You don't have to worry about you getting shot. Your wife doesn't have to worry about you getting shot, or your husband when you go to a domestic dispute. Everything's going to be fine. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Or are you going to still train your officers to be prepared and be ready for any eventuality, whether the law's in place or not? Okay, so why don't you try to do your job, keep your word, keep your oath, and follow and obey the United States Constitution. Let me say this again. Officer of the law, peace officer, chief, trooper, sheriff. Gun control in America is against the law. Constitutional carry exists in 4 states. All 4 of those states have low crime rates. Arizona, Wyoming, Alaska, and Vermont. And New Hampshire, of course, doesn't want as low a crime rate as Vermont has. Let's get serious here. Regardless of the statistical analysis, gun control is still against the law in your state. You're supposed to read your state constitution. I've never even read the New Hampshire Constitution. I guarantee that the New Hampshire Constitution guarantees the right to keep and bear arms by law-abiding citizens.
Absolutely, it does. Absolutely. And basically, the bill that we put into place is very simple. All we're trying to do is make it so that you don't have to ask permission to concealed carry. And they want everyone, one officer actually said he wants us to all open carry. Which most women, and obviously I'm a woman, we prefer to conceal carry because
So do
otherwise
I.
you can make a target.
Everybody should conceal it because it causes less alarm. You're not going to get calls when you go into the grocery
Exactly.
store. And you know what? It leaves you with the advantage of surprise if you're ever attacked. And so, all of these arguments on the other side are completely outside logic and outside our cultural history in America, and plain and simply contrary to the Constitution, both of the state and of the federal government.
Thank you very much, Sheriff Mack. I hope the troopers get this message.
Get your guns.
Thank you.